I want to yap about the Steam Deck because I'm a certified yapper and we're gonna yap. Let me tell you, I got a Steam Deck for the first time finally this year because truth be told, man, I had no idea, and we still don't really have an idea when the next Steam Deck is actually going to drop, right? It could be next year, it could be 2026, it could never happen because Valve is just very strange and mysterious, right? So because of that, I just decided to take the plunge, really, because I wanted to see what all the hype has been about for the last 2 years or so. And I get it. I have been missing out big time. And I just, I wanna talk about my experience with it. I ended up getting the Steam Deck on sale, actually. It was about a month ago when the Steam summer sale was going on. And I believe they had like a 20% discount on it or something like that. So it went down from $350 to, you do the math for me. And so I was like, okay, it's pretty enticing. But then I learned that you can actually just use like standard Visa gift cards and just easily convert them into Steam credit and then add the Steam credit on top of your total transaction for whatever you pay. And so at the end of the day, when I applied all of these gift cards, I ended up only having to pay like $150 for just the standard 64 gigabyte Steam Deck. So that's probably the best deal I was ever going to get. And I should also say that I did end up spending like, I believe it was $40 for a 512 gigabyte micro SD card to put in there. So you can just say this was a under $200 package, minus the stand that you see right there. I have spending problems. This is one of the most versatile devices I've ever used. Obviously, it's just being marketed as the Steam Deck, right? A wonderful little handheld device that you can play all of your Steam games on. You have instant access to every game you've ever purchased through your library, except you can play it on a smaller form factor. And most, if not almost all of your Steam library is probably accessible to play from day one. There are some exceptions that I've seen when looking at my Steam library, like maybe there's a really old and outdated game that the developers just never even thought of supporting for the Steam Deck, or of course if it's like a VR game. But most of the time you're going to find just some way to make your game work with the Steam Deck. If the devs don't have an official Steam Deck compatibility rating on it, then there's most likely some fan who has tinkered enough to make it playable for you to download. I really think this is just an impressive device, and if you want to use it just for Steam and stick with the Steam UI, you can, and you have access to who knows how many games to play from, and just access to way more from a storefront that's always constantly putting their games on sale and just giving you insane discounts, dude. Playing so many different kinds of games on this handheld is actually great, and I was expecting to have to sacrifice a lot of different graphics settings or mess with the performance to really get what I wanted here. But honestly, man, even in some last gen games, like I was playing Resident Evil 7, this thing holds up. And you can just play the entire game at 60 FPS if you want to. Granted, you'll get something like 3.5 to 4 hours of battery life, but considering it's a last generation game for the PS4, like that's still pretty impressive. Where is this man? Oh, he's stuck. Oh shit. With that though, if you're really trying to push this thing to its limits, then of course there's going to be the impact on your battery life, right? The Steam Deck, I'm pretty sure on its official page says you can get a battery life anywhere from like 2 to 7 hours, which is honestly true. If you're going to pull up a game like, let's say Cyberpunk or God of War, it depends on the frame rate and the quality settings you choose for the game too, but you're looking at maybe having a total battery life of like 2 to 3 hours on this guy. Compared to, let's say if you're just using this as like your indie machine and you're playing some games like Celeste or like a new game that just came out called Thank Goodness You're Here, then you're probably going to get like the peak of the battery life, you know, you'll get like 6 to 7 hours. Now personally, I am a bit of a gamer weirdo, as we in the business call it. I'm a stickler for like just a whole bunch of indie games, and so I'm getting the far end of the battery spectrum, you know, like 6 to 7 hours, right? And I really think, on the side note, this thing is great as an indie machine. If you just want a nice collection of like little obscure games maybe that you can't find on consoles and they're only on PC, this is perfect for that. I think one of the best examples I can think of is a Nightmare Cart. Hear me out. Nightmare Cart is a PS1 inspired kind of demake of Bloodborne, except, you know, in a Mario. And it's awesome. And it works perfectly on Steam Deck. And so I think it was one of the first things I did was I was like, I want to play this on the big screen. I just plug it in and then bada bing, bada boom, I'm playing Nightmare Cart, dude. And yeah, just more obscure games like that you can find to play like in a portable or TV scenario is just perfect for this little machine. As for input options you got on this thing, I mean, you can see it all right here. It's got buttons for days. We got the 2 thumbsticks, we got your A, B, X, Y, D-pad, triggers, bumpers, all your basic stuff. But then you have these 2 little unique touch pads here, which can honestly be customized in any way you want. And these are inspired from the Steam controller, if anybody remembers that thing. It pretty much just used this like haptic feedback technology on these little touch sensitive zones on the controller where they were supposed to simulate using a mouse for more like refined precision control. And I gotta say, I mean, it's probably the best case scenario for when you're playing those real-time strategy games or Sims or any kind of game where you might need more of that precise movement. And there's these 4 little back pedals on the back that you can customize with every game. And speaking of customization, there's a ton of different ways you can set up these buttons in any kind of game you want. And the Steam community could even provide you with custom layouts for the games that you play on Steam. So if there's maybe a more ergonomic or more comfortable way to play a certain game on Steam, somebody's probably already made it. And you can just go on the different forums to find yourself the perfect controller setup. Also, of course, Steam Deck is not just used for gaming on Steam. They basically have Linux running on this entire thing, and if you want to, you can just go straight into desktop mode and just use it like a PC, man. If you really wanted to, you could plug in like a wireless mouse and a keyboard, or get yourself some type of USB hub adapter and just hook up your Steam Deck through HDMI to a monitor and just have yourself a decently powerful $400 machine. It's a pretty damn good deal. I mean, it still holds up 2 years later. For example, you can download streaming software apps if you want to. So I'm talking like Netflix, Spotify, Hulu, whatever you want really. And then there's even a way to actually get those apps working on the front end on Steam Deck OS. So you can just select it straight in the menus instead of having to go to desktop mode, which is pretty cool. You got LibreOffice, just in case you want to crank out that thesis. There's also another app called Heroic Launcher, which will basically help you to get all of your games that might be on the Epic Store or GOG, so you can put them all on Steam OS, have a nice little front end for those things as well. So there's a lot, dude. There's a lot of customization. And I forgot to mention the most important one, which is EmuDeck. EmuDeck is amazing. It is the premier way, in my opinion, and probably many other people's opinion, to play a bunch of different games over the years from different Nintendo consoles, Sega, PlayStation. It's got a really nice, easy launcher to be able to get everything set up and assembled, and just to give you this nice little user interface to navigate through all of your consoles and all of your games. I have been able to experience like so many games that I never got to experience in childhood. Maybe I shouldn't have phrased it like that. I definitely own Chibi Robo for the GameCube, Nintendo. Trust me, bro. And yeah, dude, it's just been awesome to basically just have a massive library of different games, dude. I mean, either from EmuDeck or from Steam. You could probably just run Minesweeper on this thing if you wanted to. This thing's just awesome. And of course, there's also a lot of hardware modifications you can make on this guy too. Everything you pretty much see here, you can replace or upgrade in some way. I'm talking like the buttons, I'm talking the thumbsticks, the SSD, the RAM, even the shell in this case can just completely be taken apart and fit with an entirely different shell. So you can get like a translucent case on there if you want to. I hope you know what you're doing though. And if you don't, well then that's, Steam Deck is just, it's kind of bonkers. It's kind of sicko style. It is still definitely worth your time to pick up one of these bad boys in 2024 because of just the sheer amount of customization you can do on it and how it's just way beyond a gaming machine if you want it to be. And I hope for my sake, because I just got this thing, I selfishly hope that they take a while to release the new one, because I would still like some time to enjoy the Steam Deck. But you know how technology is. You buy the newfangled thing and then newfangled thing 2.0 gets dropped the day after and you're like, ah. And at first I was pretty reluctant to even pick this guy up because I have my gaming PC in the background here. Like, if I just wanted to pull up one of the latest and greatest games at high-end graphics, like, I can do it. And I'm just kind of thinking like, why would I want this? But the biggest reason for me was because I got it for so cheap, but also because there's just a lot of moments when after working at my desk for like 7 hours a day or whatnot, the last thing I want to do is continue to also have my leisure time here at my desk. It's just, it's not for me. And so it's super nice to just have yourself a handheld that can pretty much take almost anything I want to play on the go, so I can sit on a couch or play in bed and just vibe out and actually enjoy PC gaming without just being here all day. So huge recommendation. John Valve, you knocked it out of the park. I don't know if I'm going to use this recording because I feel like I'm just regurgitating everything that every other YouTuber has already said about this thing.